Smiley loved to ride. Way younger than the rest, and in home life at the best, you can find 15 alive. Lord, give him one more chance to let him ride.
You know what I'm saying? So they sent us a kite, and they tell Tyler, hey man, you know, guys aren't supposed to be talking PCs. You know, do that again. You know, blah blah blah. We'll take you off roll call.
While they're buying dope off.
He wrote on the kite, hey, fuck you, take me off roll call, and I'll see you on the fucking main line, punk. And he sent me the kite, and he goes, is that all right with you? And I go, that's fine with me. And then they send the kite. No, it's not like that, bro. We just meet, you know, fuck. That's what I'm talking about, bro. It's phony fucking bullshit.
Well, so yeah, so without getting into the names and numbers, you know, so I'm from Sacramento. Okay, that tells you a lot. And I've seen some of the homeboys that are supposed to be homeboys down homeboys that will kick off a race riot instead of paying their debt for their heroin debt. So they kick off a full-on war on the yard so that the paisa that he owes all this money to won't have to, because what they do is they come get everybody and pick them all up, and you know, if you're anybody of anything, you're going straight to the hole, probably 6 months shoe or something. Even, you know, I mean,
or you go to another prison or whatever.
Yeah, or then you get the 128 with you know, your because you know what they do behind closed doors sometimes isn't what they do out front, right? They'll get a chrono saying that guy's an enemy. And then next thing you know, he ain't gonna have to worry about paying that debt. And meanwhile, look at all the drama that they create on the yard for the next year, right?
Yeah.
All
these white dudes are fucking fighting all the time. They come out getting jumped on, stabbed because some piece of shit didn't want to pay his debt.
No.
Yeah, I see that
shit. First thing that they told me is when you get the main line, stay away from the drugs. Don't get involved with the heroin because that'll get you killed faster than anything. And keep your word. If you say something, keep your word.
There is something to say for prison rules, and you know, because it avoids if the rules are followed, it avoids guys having to go, you know, in riots and
like stay with your own race and all that stuff, of course.
Yeah, you know, like they have limits on debt, and you know, you can't buy from these guys or those, go whatever. But the guys making the rules usually break them.
Right. but they can do it because they're in charge. Because they're
and if somebody questions them, then they'll have somebody else stab them. You know,
right? Because they won't, because they've already earned their bones. You know, so that you know they
do it. Sure, they did. Where did you do that? Yeah. Yeah, so did you start seeing that kind of shit and then start realizing like, hey, this is not fucking the real deal. This is bullshit.
Well, so you got to remember, and I know you were there when I was there. At least I don't know what year you went in or whatever, but
79.
Oh yeah, these are waiting for me. So they took the weights. Right. And then they, you know, they just kept taking stuff. They took the smoking, they took the weights, they took the any kind of function. They took
family visits, John.
Took family visits. That was later on, but yeah, they took all that stuff. And where it was like, you know, a tweaker, man. I go to Tracy, get hooked up with the homeboys, go do my 6 months, 90 days, whatever on the RC yard. Maybe they'll ship me over to the gym and I'll just work out and get healthy to get back out, you know, in a few months. Right. But then when they took all that stuff from everybody, they're calling it for health safety reasons, right? That that it wasn't cool no more. It
No.
was shitty. It was like really not. I mean, and I get the theory behind it, you know, don't make it comfortable for people and maybe they won't keep coming back, which,
Yeah,
you
but
know,
man, the food just became
yep.
you can't eat it, you know, and just it just became, you know, when I went to prison, they had guys that were criminals, guys who were outlaw motherfuckers, stand up dudes.
Yep.
Somebody tried to tell another. There were no shot callers. Guy didn't tell you what to do. You just learned what to do, you know.
Right. Right.
So towards the end of my term, I always say it was embarrassing to be in prison
Right. Yeah.
because of the shit that them guys were putting up with. We would have never put up with in the 80s or not, up to the
What year did you roll out of there?
2017, I think,
Oh
16.
yeah, you was in the thick of it. It was really bad by then because I was out of there by 2000 ish, 2000, 2001.
Yeah,
And for the what people were telling me about what was going on the yard
yeah,
was not cool, man. Back when I was there, that kind of shit wouldn't fly at all. Like, you
yeah,
know, the way they punked people and the politics around, you
yeah,
know, child molesters being on the yard and all that stuff, that shit would not fly. You know what I mean?
yeah. Removing guys, that some shot caller didn't like some guys, so he'd send a couple kids to jump on him in front of the cop. Lets the cops know, hey, we don't want this guy in the yard. That's kind of a PC move.
That sounds like it
That's
to
what
me.
was going on. So when that shit started happening, you know, I didn't really think I was ever going to get out of prison, so I start fat mouthing people. And I was a
Right.
plumber, so I
So
had
you was
peace.
like you ain't got nothing to lose, so you're just gonna
I
go
had
for it.
peace. Bro, I had a plexiglass piece I carried. I had pieces on the yard. I had pieces in the building. Knives. And
Yeah.
I was like, hey, fuck you guys.
Right.
Fuck all you lames. I had 2 or 3 guys, that I used to run around with that I could trust. And, I was just like, fuck them. You got, one time they came to my dorm when I was in a level 2, and this lame had a lot of money. You know how it goes, guys buy dope, buy dope, buy dope. They pay, they pay, they pay, and then they don't pay.
Then all of a sudden it's right.
They
The
come by my
money's
dorm, they go, hey,
right.
man, we're picking up a collection for so-and-so, to pay his drug debt. And so I said, hey, check this out. If you go kill that dude, right now, I said, you go stab that dude, I'll pay his whole debt. They go, man, you're fucked up. I go, no, you're fucked up.
Right.
You know,
That's
I,
funny.
it was embarrassing, bro.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
mean, so any of those guys that were in prison with you before when you was down, any of them get out?
Oh, almost all of them are out now.
Really?
Everybody's getting out. I know guys that got out, they got life without, they're out. I mean,
Right.
but it
There
was
was a
embarrassing, John.
what was his name? He was the guy that what'd they call him? Wes. His name was Wes, the ball peen hammer. Remember him? The guy killed that guy with the ball peen hammer. He
The professor?
I don't know that I don't think he was I don't know. I don't know. He's a welder. I was in welding class with him in Folsom back when, but he got out. He came through. He came through like, because when you first get out, if you have drugs on your jacket, they want you to go through a program and all that stuff.
Yeah.
And that guy Wes, I can't remember his last name. He's probably watching us right now though. You know.
But so you started seeing a lot of that shit's bullshit, it's fake, what am I doing kind of mentality.
I mean, even the way that like you would think that you'd have some kind of morals. I mean, I get that drugs do things to your brain, that make you wacky. But I mean, like think about how some of these dudes, the crimes that they've committed, and I'm not saying anything negative, but the crimes that they've committed, if you really think about the crimes that they committed, like it's almost like they got an automatic death wish when they get there because of the severity, robbing and murdering somebody in a rest stop or and all that. It's just weird shit like that don't make sense to me. You know what I mean? You think that like you know that's really what, some of that stuff didn't sit well with me. And I started seeing it way before, and I'm like, you know what, this isn't all, um, because when I was in there, all those dudes we were all young, we were all healthy, and we were all like had a program.
Yeah.
And most of the dudes are dead now. Most of the guys that I was in the pen with all those years, most of them are gone. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like
Yeah.
lots of them, because
Bottom line.
yeah, because they just either wore themselves out from doing dope in prison, or they got killed from debt,
Yeah.
or they got out and had cancer. Like Mikey Shanks died. He got out and he died. I mean,
Rest in
stuff
peace.
like that. Those guys, it's horrible. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I
That
was in San Quentin with Mikey when he was fighting that cancer.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you know what that's from, right?
Huh?
He drank Red Devil. He red lie. He drank lie out of the refrigerator on accident.
Oh, he did?
Huh? Yeah,
Wow.
yeah. Because that whole thing was that whole cooking thing, right? And there
Yeah.
was a
Yeah.
pitcher of lye in the refrigerator, and there
Yeah.
was Kool-Aid, and there was lye, and wrong one, and it fucked him up. And that was way back then. I mean, he made it, 30 years, 25 years. I mean, most of it in prison, right?
Yeah.
But sad.
Yeah.
It's
So when you started just saying, all right, I want to change my program, you went through this Prop 36.
Yeah, dude. So in '88, um, and I think it was 1988. I got out. It might have been '89, something like that. I got out. My parole officer handed me a little booklet. It was way back when. He's like, "You seem like you have a problem. You need to go check out these AA, whatever. I think it was NA meeting or whatever." And I went to a few meetings but I went to a few meetings, right?
Yeah.
And it kind of planted the seed. So when I went to that treatment program, I made a decision that that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to use this to my benefit, and I'm going to really make something of myself. And what I did after a couple months, I got a job, really good job, and I worked myself up from that. I think my first job was 16 bucks an hour, which is like a ton of money for somebody that was used to making $3.85 an hour, or whatever minimum wage was.
Yeah.
And then I joined the union, then I went to school, then I opened a construction company, and I had a bunch of employees, and I did all that stuff. And then, now I'm an inspector. And to get there, I just dug in, man. You know what I mean? No matter what, don't use. You know what I mean? Don't use no
So
matter what. Keep your hands to yourself if you can. You know what I mean?
when you started down the road of sobriety, being clean and programming stuff, were there other homeboys that you knew that were on the same path, or?
Um, a couple, but like I was talking to him, and like before, I think I was like still in I think I was still in the county jail fighting that case, and I'm like, I had a book, a NA book, and I was reading it, and the homeboys come by the door, and we talk for a little bit, and they're like, "Ah, that ain't gonna save you, whatever, like that," and I'm like,
Yeah.
This is gonna work, right?" So they all thought I was lame for doing that, but either they're dead, or they're in prison, or maybe some of them got clean.
Or they're living in a fucking tent down there by the river,
Yeah, yeah,
pissing in a
yeah,
gutter, shitting in a bucket.
it's fucking horrible.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I mean, I seen it,
yeah.
bro. I seen guys in them camps, them homeless camps that I knew in prison.
Bad, huh? And
Yeah,
they
it's
just
bad. It's ugly.
yeah, yeah,
And I know they're there because they won't stop using dope.
right.
So
And, maybe some of them don't know how to function without dope. I mean,
yeah, yeah,
that's one of the things that I learned in the program is, once you get clean, you can only be as clean as you can be, and then you gotta start working on your brain. I mean, I say my brain because I can say I'll, work on my feelings or work on my actions, but it's really my brain, because my brain's all screwed up. I used dope forever and ever and ever, and if I want to do something different, I have to change the way I think, and that's the
yeah,
brain. And so one of the things that I did was I dug in. I got involved, and I encouraged other people to do the same thing. and I helped a lot of people along the way. And when you look back, where are they? A lot of them didn't make it. A lot of them are still doing that. So a lot of them still loaded or dead or on the river or whatever.
Yeah.
And it's like the unfortunate part is 1 in 10 make it. It's
Yeah.
sad. I
Yeah.
mean, it's really sad.
I watched a program. My wife and I watched a program about this kid. He started using meth. It's a true story. It's a movie based on true story, and yeah. And bottom line, he just becomes a meth head. He rips his family off to the point over and over and over where they just say, "You know, fuck you, you're out." And
Yeah.
at the end of the show, it said that 1% of people who are heavy meth users actually recover permanently. 1%.
Isn't that horrible, dude? That
Fuck
is a horrible
nuts.
statistic.
So
Bad. Very bad, very bad.
you
22 years on January 1st. I had 22 years, man. And
so
and listen, I listen, just a recap, a short recap. I've done the prison, I've done the gang thing, I've done the all the stuff in between. And for me to be where I'm at today is an absolute miracle. I mean, I believe it's a miracle. I've been married and divorced and then remarried, and my wife now is God sent, really, like your wife. It's like when and she's just great. I mean,
yeah.
and we have a happy family, a beautiful home, all the thing. Like my idea of in 2002 when I got clean, I've over exceeded by far
Yeah.
because I'd be happy with the one bedroom apartment, in a halfway decent neighborhood. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
we own our home, we got nice things, and it's not about material stuff, but the what do you call it?
Quality of life.
Yeah, the quality of life and the doing well. I can't think of the right word.
Well,
Is
for me, it's we got our house. We got a mortgage and shit. I mean,
Yeah, well, yeah, don't we all, right?
you got a nice motorcycle. I got a nice motorcycle.
Yeah.
I got no beat up truck, and my old lady has a decent little car, and I got a decent little Dodge Caravan I go to work in. And
Yeah.
I mean, we have places lay our heads that we're glad to be here, and we're proud that we're here. And
Yeah.
I mean, it's just your quality of life, man. It's to me, from where I've been and where I'm at now, it's a level of achievement,
Uh-huh. That's what I was looking for, achievement,
level of achievement. It's not like, hey, look at me, like we both know a guy, he's a barber, right? He has a barber shop with Placerville. And so we were talking to him I was talking to him one time when we're on that ride, and he's like, he has like $1,000 fucking motorcycle helmet.
Yeah.
And he's like, hey man, when I tell people about they think he's bragging on, hey, look at my $1,000 motorcycle helmet. But what it really is that guy was at the lowest a person could ever be in life.
My transitional house, man. I know.
And now he has $1,000 motorcycle helmet. I think he's just blown away still every day of his life. He's just blown away by the accomplishments that he's achieved, and he likes to share it like, hey, look, man, and
you can have this too. All you have to do is something other than what you're doing right now.
Yeah.
That person, well, a lot of the people, but that particular person, he lived in my transitional living house for a long time. And that dude right there, stellar dude. I mean, just the way he did it and the way he stayed clean and the way he thrived. And he went from not having nothing, digging ditches for a construction company to having his own business. I mean, he's done it. And all those dudes, I mean, a lot of those dudes lived in my houses. You know what I mean? When I got divorced in 2010 or 2011, I let all that stuff go. It was such a bad distraction for my brain. I let all those houses go and all that stuff. Wasn't making money. I was just helping people. You know what I mean? And that's a big part of the story was like I seen someone else doing it, helping people, by giving them places to live for low rent and all that stuff. And I wanted to do it because I wanted to give back. You know what I mean? And because I do other stuff, like I belong to a men's organization. I'm like a director of a men's organization. I have a nonprofit we do for kids, Christmas time, all that stuff. By the way, we're having Jeff Keith Ride for Reason is coming in May 4th. If you could come down for that, that'd be super cool. Jeff Keith, Tesla. We're doing a anniversary.
I don't know who that is.
Tesla.
Yeah, I know Tesla.
He's the singer for Tesla. Jeff Keith
Oh,
is
the band Tesla.
Huh?
Yeah, Sacramento, Tesla.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
yeah.
We're doing a reunion tour for him, for that whole thing. Anyway,
Yeah.
what's up, buddy? I'm right in the middle. Go ahead, do your thing, son. Do your thing, and
So-
just shut the door when you get done. So anyway, all the accomplishments I wanted to give them back to help people, right?
Yeah.
And that makes me feel good about myself when I can do something for someone else with no expectation.
Yeah.
Maybe a little. I want them to stay clean. You know what I mean? That'd be nice if they could just stay clean. But yeah, that's a big one, man.
Yeah, Tommy did that for a while. He had the transitional housing and
Which one?
Tommy Hall
Oh yeah.
for a while. I guess he
No.
lost.
Didn't you run through those?
No, I went to Los Angeles.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
South Central with Francisco Homes.
Yeah.
Sister Teresa ran the Francisco Homes, which is they got like 4 or 5 houses right there in South Central Los Angeles, and
Yeah.
it was pretty cool.
How's it living there?
It was cool.
Not
I asked
bad.
him, I said, "What's it like living here in the ghetto?" And he goes, "Just like prison." Like, what do you mean? He goes, "If you want some, they'll give you more than you can handle.
Right.
And if you don't want none, they won't fuck with you.
Right.
That's how it is."
As long
And
as you
actually,
mind.
people in that neighborhood were actually pretty cool.
Nice.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
So you got clean, you got your business going. Now you're remarried and you have kids and you're a homeowner.
Close up business.
And so what are you doing? What do you do? I mean, you work obviously.
Yeah, I'm a special inspector. So basically what my thing is I'm a structural inspector. So hospitals and high rises and if you build something you have to check the soil. So I do a lot of that stuff. I'm just basically a structural inspector.
Right.
But I'm out right now for 3 months. You know that, right?
No.
I had full knee replacement. Remember I was telling you about my knee?
wow,
So I
okay.
had the left one done, and then next year I'm having the right one done.
So how's that
And
work?
I can walk. It's only been 2 weeks. It's been 16 days. I'm already walking.
Yeah.
So full knee replacement. It's
They were
crazy.
doing that prison, like they were running them like assembly line, bing, 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 and
Really?
saying, yeah, and they're like, get on your feet right away,
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, it's good, man. I mean, I can stand. It's the craziest thing. The
Yeah.
first 3 days it felt like an ice pick in my leg though, but after
Yeah.
after 3 or 4 days it was fine. You know what I mean? You
Yeah.
know.
So you also have like some social media stuff going on.
Oh yeah. So I have
So what do you do?
for asking. So my I guess what's it called? My topic or whatever is politics. I do politics. So I do current events and politics. And this is why. Let me give you a little rundown what happened. So a few years ago, there was a little orange man being trampled through the media every day of his whole presidency, and I was kind of hearing about it a little bit. And a good friend of mine was like, "Hey, you need to pay attention to this so you can see what's going on." I started paying attention to what the media was doing and all the government officials, how they were operating, and how corrupt everything was, and all that stuff. And I took a liking or an interest to it. So then I started, instead of just jumping on the bandwagon with like either he's great or he's bad or whatever, Trump or, Biden or whoever, I started doing research. And then as I did the research, I was like, oh, wow, this is interesting. Because if you really do the research, you really find out the truth. Most people don't. They just get on the bandwagon and roll with whatever it is. And so I couldn't like go out and you do it like a camera and a bullhorn and go protest and do all that stuff. So I created a podcast about 2.5 years ago. And that's what I do. So I take clips and investigative reports and I put them on my Rumble channel. It's rumble.com. If you don't know what that is, it's the alternative to YouTube because this is what happened. I have a YouTube channel, Inspector Web Podcast, and for some reason they keep taking the stuff down, and it's just news clips from other news media outlets. But for some reason, if you don't say it right or do it right, they ban you. So I use rumble.com/Inspector Web, and I get a kick out of it because some of the stuff that that I report on will blow your mind. You know, I encourage everybody to just check it out. Maybe you
So
maybe you're like,
how do they find you on Rumble? How do they find you?
rumble.com/Inspector Web. This
All
is
right.
the thing. So maybe you don't like politics. Let me just say that to people. Most people don't. Most people are like, I don't really care about politics.
Yeah.
At a time as such as this, you might want to know a little bit, at least a little bit about what's going on in the country right now or in the world. Because if you don't know what's going on, and I'll leave it off this because this is your podcast. But if you don't know what's going on in the world right now, you're going to be in a world of shock when things that are getting ready to happen. And I have all the evidence. If you go to my channel, I have 100 different videos, podcasts with different experts and all that stuff that will explain what I'm talking about. And so I podcast at noon, Monday through Friday at Pacific Standard Time, so California time. And I do a Friday night show at 8 p.m.
Hey, so
currently.
what do you think about Tucker Carlson?
I think that was awesome. I think
I met
that
him, right? I met him, right?
you met him when?
At Sonny's funeral.
Oh, nice. He was
And then
there, huh?
I kicked it with him for like 20 minutes or more, And
What do you think of him? Don't
I think
ask me.
he's
I wanna know. Huh?
I think he's a real
Isn't he,
deal.
isn't he
He's a,
the funniest fucker you ever met? I mean, he's just funny.
he grew up in
Huh?
San Diego, so he's a homeboy. He's from
Yeah.
Frisco and San Diego, and I can't really say. I can tell you off camera, but he's a real dude, and he's down with sobriety, and he's
Yep.
a dude. He just interviewed Vladimir Putin, right?
Yeah, I got the so and that's the thing that I was gonna say about my show. It's not I do a live show, so it's not scripted. We're not cutting things. We're just putting up raw data and clips and information. And I have guests come in. Had a really cool dude on today at noon. I have different hosts and stuff like that. But so if you want to know what's going on in the medical stuff, or you want to know what's going on with the political world, or you want to know about all these things, just come in, tune in. You'll be surprised. Tucker Carlson did a 2 hour and 15-minute interview of Putin, and I put it up on my Twitter, just like copied and it's got like 3,000 views, and I have like 3,000 people on my Twitter, and so I posted it on Rumble, and it blew up, and it's like there was last time I checked, I think I checked it at 3 o'clock this afternoon or 2 o'clock this afternoon, and that video from Vladimir Putin and Tucker Carlson had 165 million views.
So
everybody's interested in that.
Putin says one thing in that interview I did see. He said that Biden doesn't run the country.
He did say that. Do you believe it?
The president of the United States does not run the country. People run him.
Yes.
And every 4 years we get a new president, and they run the president. That president doesn't run shit.
Deep state. It's the deep state. It's the deep state corrupt. Yeah. And so I have
Trump.
I have what's that?
Which is why they hate Trump.
Well, they hate Trump because he was like, hey, this is corruption at the deepest level,
Yeah.
and they can't run him, and
No.
they want somebody that they can control. If you look at how Biden is, he's completely controlled,
Well, he's a
absolutely
moron,
controlled.
so, you know.
Plus, he's a moron,
Yeah,
and I
and
mean,
he's
I
been
didn't think
corrupt
they
his
made
whole
it
life.
out all that strong though.
He's been corrupt his whole life.
His whole life, 50
You
years.
know, his son's
That's
corrupt. He's corrupt. His whole family's corrupt. You know.
so tell me, and I don't want to get into. I mean, we can if you want, but I mean, if you just think about it, Biden had documents in his garage,
Yeah, I know.
not covered up, just thrown about in the garage. Vice president had documents that only presidents can have.
Right.
But then this special investigator, said that there's no charges, and the reason why they're not going to charge him for it was because he's a frail old man.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that tells you everything you need to know about our government. I mean,
That it's well-meaning or whatever. You know.
it's crazy, dude. It's wild. That's why I do this. That's why I have this show that I do every day, because I think that people like you and I, not like, Tucker Carlson's or or Alex Jones or whoever that know all this stuff already, but like the everyday person. I have a lot of people that are just everyday Joes that watch my show because they can't believe, just like I can't believe, what is actually going on in our country right now.
Well,
And really,
maybe I can come on your channel sometime or your podcast. I don't know if you do that kind of stuff, but
absolutely.
chat here later.
Yep.
I studied all this shit when I was in prison, and Freemasonry and New World Order crap, and now I'm kind of concerned about digital currency and this fucking the World Economic Forum and the World Health Organization, all that shit they want to do, and then you look at what's going on in Ireland and France and England. People have had enough of this Islamic fucking migration and
what they're doing in France. Is that crazy? They're ripping the roads out, putting manure down, and lighting it on fire, telling them, fuck you. I mean,
we can chat about that later, but I mean, I'm aware of all that stuff, and
yeah, well, I'd love to, man. Anytime you want. I know that you work days.
Yeah,
we should just all quit our jobs and be media.
Paid me enough, I'd do it, but
So my plan is in the next few years to not do the inspector thing and do this full time when it makes enough money to support itself. And I want to get, I want to get journalists in here and a producer, because you have a great producer. I have to do everything on my own. So
when I talked to Tucker Carlson, and later on he went to a clubhouse, over in the Bay Area, and they're all, hey man, woo, and they're chatting up with him. He gave out his personal phone number. I mean, he just. And he goes, man, all the people I met today, that guy that did 38 years in prison, man, he's the coolest fucking guy, man, all day. That guy, and I guess a friend of mine told me some of the guys still see him, and he's like, and Bill says, man, that guy that did 38 years, man, that guy was fucking cool, man, So
you are cool. And it's very admirable to do 38 years and you still can walk. I mean, that's a lot of time. You know what I mean?
That is,
especially for anyway. So I'm waiting for the time to interview or be interviewed by Tucker Carlson. That's the ultimate goal, is to be interviewed by Tucker Carlson and Alex Jones. So,
he does he does stuff on corruption, and the California prison system is one of the most corrupt organizations in the California government. I mean, you could go all the way back to, Don Novi was the president of the CCPOA, the Prison Guards Union. But when he started, he worked in Folsom Prison. And the head of the union back then was, I think he was a Mexican guy, and he was like a captain or some shit. And there's an open investigation on his murder. I guess someone said that he was fucking Don Novi's wife, or Don Novi was fucking his wife. And Don Novi, and bottom line, the dude came up dead with a bullet in the back of his head.
Right.
And, you know, Don Novi became a very powerful individual in California politics, famous for wearing his fedora, you know. So, bottom line is California prison system is one of the most corrupt organizations probably in the country.
Yeah.
You know,
So
on that
it's a
level.
money-making thing, that's for sure. It used to be.
Yeah,
Did the federal government take them over?
no, I don't know. They have the biggest union in California, strongest union. I remember when I went to prison, they were trying to join the California Highway Patrol, and the Highway Patrol told me, "Fuck you guys." Now the Highway Patrol joined their union.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that's how strong they are. So
The CCOP or something like that?
POA. But, you know, I would like to get with Tucker and talk about that kind of shit. You know, prison goes along with you know, the New World Order's bullshit. They want to break you. They want to
Absolutely. They want to control us and take us all down. You know, one thing that I will say is that in the beginning of that whole reading the documents on the New World Order or the World Economic Forum, and they tell you in their documents that they want to they want to literally depopulate us by 90%. They want 500 million people instead of the 8 billion that we have, or 7 billion, whatever. And
yeah,
it's like they tell you that in your face while
yeah.
they're taking the food away, taking the fuel, trying to make everything electric, which won't, that's not sustainable. I mean, just all the things, right? And people are starting to fight back. I mean, look what the farmers are doing. I mean, that's a big
Well,
one.
the thing is, you know, and I don't want to get too carried away with it, but you
Yeah,
know, they
right.
want total control of your
Yes,
life.
yes.
And the
One
guy that
world government.
the guy that runs the World Economic Forum, his
Klaus
dad
Schwab.
was industrialist for the Nazi Party, Nazi Germany.
Yeah,
He works for the same company his dad worked for. That he got his dad got medals from the Nazi Party for being a great industrialist. And
right.
you know, the guys and you know, Nazi shit in prison is real popular with white guys, but what they don't understand is National Socialism is still socialism.
Right.
Uh, and they were not right wing Nazis; they were left wing socialists,
Right.
but they were National Socialists. So anyway, the guy that runs the World Economic Forum, he comes from a Nazi background. So I
Yeah.
mean, it's surprising what they want to do. But it's surprising is that they have people from the, you know, the World Banks and all these people with big fat money. They're all a part of it, you know. So
Yeah, they want digital currency.
well, that's their main.
CBDC.
That's one of their big goals. Yeah.
You know what they do with it, right? If they control the money, then they control you. If you say the wrong thing, eat too much meat, you know, your carbon footprint doesn't match their grid that they want, then they just shut you off. Then you
Yeah.
can't get shit.
Yeah.
So,
So hey,
but
John,
Trump
you
did come out and say, hold on. Trump did come out and say last week that under his watch that he will not allow digital currency. So anyway,
yeah.
go ahead.
So you know, you went through the grew up in a single family, single parent home, dope, negative influences, you know, led you down that path to prison. And so um you got a good life, you know. I mean,
Yeah.
and so my, you know, part of my thing in this channel is, you know, there are a lot of young guys out there in the world that are going down that road. And what, you know, before we close out, what's a message you got for them guys, man? I mean, some of them youngsters watching right now. And, you know, they look at us, we got gray beards and all that shit, but we didn't always look like this, you know?
No, we sure didn't.
Yeah.
Jesus. Well, it's not always what it seems. That's the first thing. I would say that when I think about like all the stuff that happened in my younger years, if I knew half of what I know now, I probably would have done something different. One of the things that um because my mom would tell me before she died that I always wanted to be a family man, right? I always would bring in stray kids and girlfriends with kids and all that stuff, but I would just drop them off and leave because I was, you know, I was running amok. What I would say is that if you're not clean and you want to get clean, you know, there's a 1-800 number for Narcotics Anonymous or Alcoholics Anonymous. Um, it's hard to do, but it's a life that is much better than anything that you could ever dream about. And or if you know somebody that's struggling, there's help available for everybody. And um, it seems like we've been able to do this, and it's super easy. It's not easy for somebody that's currently using to get clean, but
But not just that, but guys that are involved with criminal lifestyle.
Yeah,
Usually it usually revolves around drugs.
absolutely.
But that criminal lifestyle, gang mentality, gang membership on a street level.
Yeah, it's hard to get out of.
Way out.
To get out of. When you're in, it's hard to get out. A lot of times you can't get out unless
there is a way out, and
there's gotta find a way out. You know what I mean?
It starts with a personal choice, and there's people that'll help you get to where you want to
For
be.
me, it's God, but I mean, everybody's got their own idea of.
But the thing is, John, like it was never that big of a struggle for me to get loaded and have a sack of dope, on the streets or prison. But guys are just daily users and in the mix. I mean, the work that they put into just to get loaded and stay loaded and not get sick. I mean, if they put half that amount of work into a legit effort to, have a job or have a legit life, I mean, it'd be so much easier,
Yeah. My mom used to tell me that all the time. If you spend half as much time doing something positive than all the time you spend trying to find dope, you would be super successful. And she was right.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
Absolutely right.
I remember the most out of when we took that long motorcycle ride is I'd be riding behind you and you'd be riding and then your shoulder would go up and your head would go down. And then I get this big cloud of strawberry.
Yeah. Still vaping.
While we're riding, it's like,
Well,
man.
I mean, there was a time where I was smoking 4 or 5 cigars a day, big ass cigars. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I started vaping because I was starting to cough and all that stuff, and getting nodules on my lungs and stuff, and I want to live. So yeah, that's that whole thing. But yeah, sneaking a little hit in my Pendleton. Yeah, this has been fun, man.
That was a fun ride.
Yeah, we got to do it again, man, or something. Got to do something. I'm probably down for a few months, but hopefully I'm ready to ride for that Jeff Keith ride. That'll be a cool. There'll probably be 1,000 bikes there.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, it's been good to have you on, and maybe we'll have another chat sometime about some of that crazy shit we're talking about.
Yeah, man. Hard, man. Yeah. Right on, Mitch, man. Thank you. Again, Inspector Webb at rumble.com/Inspector Webb. You can also find me on Twitter. It's Inspector Webb 1B POD. So Inspector Webb Pod, just 1B and Pod. You can find all the stuff that I post on there as well. Everything's free. We're not charging anybody for any of that stuff. So
all right, cool.
Thank you, Mitch.
Yeah, thanks for coming on, bro.